It's a really wonderful pleasure to welcome everybody here today, to see a standing room only crowd for this special occasion. We were a bit panicked when we saw the weather forecast yesterday for lots of rain, so this is for those of us who are hair challenged to keep the shade. So we're delighted to have this, and it's really it's wonderful to see something that was just a vision a few years ago actually here and opened and ready for business. And so thank you all for joining us for this special occasion. It's my pleasure to start this program by saying that last year, when Richard McCormick announced that he would be stepping down after a decade as president at Rutgers, we faced a daunting task to recruit a new leader for the State University of New Jersey during one of the most turbulent and uncertain times in New Jersey's higher education and Rutgers' 246-year history. I'm delighted to report that we found the ideal person for this vital task. Dr. Robert Barchi is one of the few individuals in the world who has had the experience both as the provost and chief academic officer for one of the world's leading research universities and as the president of one of the nation's largest health science, education, and research institutions. And he did all of that just a few miles from here at Penn and Thomas Jefferson University, where at both places he led a period of unprecedented growth, both in students and campus construction. I can think of no one better equipped to guide us through the challenging task of integrating UMDNJ into Rutgers than President Barchi. What we hope will emerge at the end of this complicated process will be a truly great research university, one that delivers on former Governor Tom Kaine's charge to take Rutgers from good to great. The combined university should have a research output greater than Harvard, placing us in the top 25 of all universities in the state, in the U.S., and serve as an engine of innovation, job creation, and world-class education for the Garden State. Bob is a New Jersey native who did his undergraduate degree at Georgetown, where he played on the football team, though he is taking no credit for the number 23 ranked Scarlet Knights 4-0 start. And before moving into higher ed leadership, he started his career and has continued to be a world-class neuroscientist, researcher, educator, and medical doctor. We're delighted that he has made the time from his packed, and I can say truly packed, first month in office to be here today for this special event. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the 20th president of Rutgers, Dr. Bob Barchi.
Well, thank you very much, David, and thank you for the kind welcome. I must say that those comments were considerably longer than my comments are going to be. And I have to say in regard to the football team that I'll take all the credit I can get. Those guys wouldn't be 23rd if I wasn't here. But I have to tell you, I am absolutely honored to be here to help dedicate this building and to help usher in what I think will be a new level of partnership between Rutgers and Atlantic Cape Community College. You know, this is the first building that Rutgers has ever built on a community college campus, and it makes very clear our commitment to the educational demands of South Jersey and our very strong relationship with Atlantic Cape in providing these opportunities. Now, I'm just walking into this partnership, but I know that President Mora has really put himself and the college solidly behind it and have done that for quite some time. And on behalf of Rutgers, I salute him and everyone at Cape College for this. Now, there are many, many people here who deserve applause, including our friends in the state and local and county government. I see we have some right here in the front row. The governing boards of our institutions, the crews that actually built this thing and brought it in on time, our senior administrators who made it happen. I particularly want to thank Barbara Fiorella, and she's up here on the stage with us, and her staff. Who run our community college relationships for the absolutely stellar effort that they put in to get this building done on time and on budget. Now, I'm sure you know that there was intense debate in Trenton earlier this year. That would be a mild understatement about the future of Rutgers and its presence and role in South Jersey. But I have to tell you that our alumni, the citizens of South Jersey, our faculty, and our staff and our students spoke up and said, we want Rutgers here. We want our state university here. And the leaders in Trenton and in South Jersey listened to that. The upshot was the really historic legislation that was signed by the governor just a few weeks ago, diametrically opposite in many ways to the legislation that was under discussion earlier in the spring and the beginning of the summer. And it creates what I think is a much stronger Rutgers, a Rutgers with a single university that's present in three campuses that are not severable, that extend our university into our community, both in Newark and in Camden, both in North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey, and now bringing into it a health sciences firepower from UMDNJ that makes us even better able to serve the needs of the state in all of these regions. And we're going to make this bill happen. We're going to work hard to get this done this year. It will get done. We will turn that switch next July on all these things. And it really exemplifies our commitment to Rutgers in South Jersey, as well as to Rutgers as an institution. And this building says it all. The Lifelong Learning Center is an investment that really will bring the full resources of the state university to the citizens of South Jersey, with the opportunity to access faculty and programs from all of our university on all of our campuses. So to everyone who made this day possible, thank you and congratulations. We're proud to know that this building will make a difference for hardworking men and women who make this area their home, and will do so for generations to come. Now let me take a few minutes to recognize one person in a special way. He's Dr. Ray Caprio, and this building says so much about his vision and his leadership. You know, for more than 15 years, Vice President Ray Caprio led the Division of Continuing Education, and he really built it from scratch. He worked tirelessly to bring the opportunity for a Rutgers education for both for-credit and non-credit to people across the state. Ray got the university involved in a range of programs, online courses, executive education, workforce development, and lots more. But the story today is what he did alongside leaders like Dr. Mora. In 1998, the state published a report pointing out underserved regions of the state that needed more in higher education. I think Ray took that as a personal challenge. He conceptualized the degree completion programs to serve non-traditional students and community college graduates who want to complete a bachelor's degree near where they work or where they live. So he started these key relationships with community college for degree completion programs, and the first one was at Brookdale in Freehold, and then here at Atlantic Cape, and most recently at Raritan Valley in Branchburg. And already there are hundreds of kids, students I say, not kids anymore, who have graduated from these programs with Rutgers degrees. I have to say, of course, at my age, everyone's a kid, so that's a non-derogatory statement. When we started here, we had 14 students, and now we have over 300. Ray took the program to a new level in working on the designing of this Lifelong Learning Center. Now this year, under the direction of David Feingold, we're looking for more sites for degree completion programs, and that's just more evidence of what Ray has gotten started with his initiative. So Ray, although you've moved on to become a professor of public administration, your handprints are all over this building. Your work has been life-changing for non-traditional students here and all over New Jersey. So as a token of our appreciation, I want to salute your 40-year career, but most especially your vision and leadership by presenting you with a framed image of the Lifelong Learning Center. And we have it here somewhere. There it goes. Well, thank you, Ray, and thank you all for being here, and thank you for Atlantic Cape for allowing us to partner with you. We're here now, we're not going anywhere, and we're looking forward to some exciting programs. Thank you very much.
Now, it's my pleasure to join Dr. Barchi in thanking a number of the special guests who've joined us today. We have Robert Geist from Congressman Lobiondo's office, Daniel Staplekamp from Senator Menendez's office. We have a number of Rutgers Board of Trustees members. We have Michael Tuostu, Jeannie Fox, who is an emeritus member, a number of members of the Atlantic Cape Foundation and Board, Jim Rotola, Matt Moeller, Richard Stapura, James Bertino, and we have, 4 Atlantic County freeholders, James Bertino, John Risley, Frank Formica, and Frank Giordano. We have Howard Kyle, the Chief of Staff from the Atlantic County Executive, Dennis Levinson's office, and Alyssa Cooper, the Commissioner for the New Jersey Casino Control Commission. And we have a number of our leaders at Rutgers. We have Wendell Pritchett, the Chancellor of Rutgers Camden. We have Courtney McAnuff, who's the Vice President for Enrollment Management, Joanna Rogulska, who's the Vice President in charge of Global and International Affairs, and Richard Edwards, the Acting Chancellor in New Brunswick and the Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. So thank you all for making the time to be here today. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Peter Mora, without whose support and leadership, we would not be celebrating the opening of this facility today. Atlantic Cape Community College's 8th president has spent nearly all of his life in this area, participating actively in the community, business life, and demonstrating his deep commitment to expanding educational opportunities for South Jersey's residents. President Mora shares our belief that truly effective public higher ed institutions incorporate both access for a diverse range of students and educational excellence in their mission, goals, and daily life. Dr. Mora first brought Rutgers into his vision for higher education back in 1996, when as Dean of the Worthington Atlantic City campus, he worked with the School of Business at Rutgers Camden to establish an MBA program in Atlantic City. In 2000, they added the hospitality management degree, and later, partnering with Ray Caprio, Dr. Mora was instrumental in laying the foundation for this Lifelong Learning Center, our second off-campus site, which took in its first students in 2006. Through President Mora's efforts and his collaboration with Ray and former Rutgers President Dick McCormick, this partnership became permanent when we set the stage for the construction of this building several years ago. We're delighted today to be dedicating the first academic building that Rutgers has built on any community college campus. I'm excited to take the partnership to the next level with Dr. Mora in the years ahead. Pete?
Well, thank you, Dave. Well, it certainly is a big day for the Rutgers and Atlantic Cape Community College families. I'd like to thank Dave Feingold for that very welcoming introduction, and also thank Dr. Barchi for your remarks. Dr. Barchi, on behalf of the faculty, students, Board of Trustees, and staff, it is a true honor to welcome you on your first visit to Atlantic Cape Community College, the home of the Buccaneers. It is wonderful to have you here on our campus, and I greatly look forward to working with you as we expand this collaboration between these two wonderful organizations. I'm most humbled to be standing here today to commemorate this truly transformational event in the history of Atlantic Cape Community College. Rarely do I use the term transportational, but there's no other word in my view that can actually accurately express the significance of this development. Simply put, this Rutgers facility will provide greater opportunity, that's really important for this college, greater opportunity for more of our graduates, and by the way, graduates of other Southern New Jersey community colleges, to obtain baccalaureate and master degrees from our state university without having to relocate from their homes. For Atlantic Cape, I am most confident that our Buccaneers will make a seamless transfer to becoming Scarlet Knights. We have some examples of that up here. Seriously, this facility is a win-win for students, their families, both institutions, and all residents of Atlantic Cape May County. This degree completion facility, along with our articulation and degree completion agreements with the university, provide a clear example of how our college is our efforts to fulfill our published mission, which states, quote, Atlantic Cape creates opportunity by providing access to superior educational programs. Well, you can't get access to much more superior education program in public education in this state than with Rutgers University. Moreover, this partnership is an excellent illustration about how our college also supports its primary goal of our new 5-year strategic plan, which is to maximize student success. Again, certainly an opportunity to attend Rutgers right here absolutely maximizes any student success. I'd like to just take a few moments to share an historical perspective on today's event. I see this as a unique linkage of two of the most important developments in U.S. higher education history. The Morrill Land Grant Act, signed by Abraham Lincoln in 1862, and the Truman Commission on Higher Education of 1947, authorized by President Harry Truman. Here's how today's event connects these two landmark developments in higher ed. First of all, the Morrill Act created a system of land grant state universities. We all know that. One in each state. They were charged with expanding education opportunities to, quote, all corners of the state. Rutgers University became was established in colonial times, became the state university, and is the State University of New Jersey. And this, of course, is the underlying rationale for Rutgers to create this type of a program. Now, as for Atlantic Cape Community College and community colleges throughout the country, our very existence stems from the mandate of the Truman Commission on Higher Ed, that each school, this was the mandate, should create a system of each state should create a system of 2-year associate degree granting colleges in order to expand access to higher education, with a special focus on previously underserved populations. That is our stake in this. The published mission of virtually every community college in this country is grounded in the following section of the Truman Commission report, which stated that equal opportunity for all persons to maximize their individual abilities and without regard to economic status, race, creed, color, gender, national origin, or ancestry is a major goal of American democracy. Only an informed, thoughtful, tolerant people can develop a free society, unquote. So this brings us to today's event, in which the degree completion facility serves as a demonstrable example of a creative linkage between a state university, Rutgers, and a locally based community college. State university, statewide, undergraduate, graduate, we understand the mission. Community college, locally based pathway to higher education. This facility is truly a solution for making this creative linkage in U.S. history. I think, just think of it. If we simply would not be here today if it were not for the leadership of two of this country's greatest presidents, Lincoln and Truman, whose visions in the 19th and 20th centuries created the public policy foundation for today's event here in the 21st century. It's a marvelous idea. I'll now conclude my remarks with some acknowledgments. This initiative simply would not have been possible without the hard work of numerous individuals. Some have been mentioned. I'll mention them again. From Rutgers, former President Dick McCormick, current President Robert Barchi, Barbara Fiorella, Cal Marandano, and Elizabeth Moore, and from Atlantic Cape, Dr. Art Wexler, Dr. Rich Perniciero, Terry Sampson, Mark Streckenbein, along with numerous faculty and students. All have made the day possible, and I greatly thank you for your leadership. Greatly thank you for your leadership, expertise, and vision. There is, however, and Dr. Barchi mentioned this already, one individual, Rutgers leader, I did not identify, and he was a true driving force behind this initiative. That person is Dr. Ray Caprio. Ray will provide a few remarks, but let me just take a moment to introduce him to you. Ray is a proud graduate of Rutgers University, obtaining his bachelor's and doctoral degrees from that institution. Now a university professor at the prestigious Edward J. Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy, Dr. Caprio also served the university in numerous capacities, most recently as the Vice President for Continuing Studies. For the past 15 years, he led the university's off-campus distance learning and continuing education activities. Today, Ray is a nationally recognized scholar in the field of public administration and a recognized expert in the areas of labor relations and financial arbitration. And finally, with Entertainment Tonight on its way here today, Ray finally showed how multi-talented he really is. He has recently earned an Emmy Award. I'm serious, an Emmy Award for his role, and he didn't tell me to say this, for his role as the media producer of NJN, this is serious, NJN/NJTV program, Caucus NJ. So we have a true media success story. Just another career change. I am now most proud to introduce a friend, valued colleague, and a tireless advocate for student access and excellence, Dr. Ray Caprio.
I'll take credit for co-creator of Caucus. The Emmy was due process, for which I am very, very proud. Actually, I'm a little embarrassed sitting up here on the stage. Some of this could go to your head. And my only hope is that most of the men in the audience are lucky enough to have a wife such as I have, because last night we were sitting around talking about today, and I said to Nan, would you have thought back in 1996 when I went down to Old Queens that we would be on the Mays Landing campus ribbon cutting for a brand new building? And the reality struck when Nan looked at me and said, Ray, you are never in my wildest dreams. So we need to bring a certain realistic perspective to all of this. So I have been asked to talk briefly about the history of this project. I know I've embarrassed you, I'm sorry. But first I'd like to start by expressing my personal thanks to President Peter Marr for his early and unqualified support for this partnership, and of course extend to President Barchi a very, very warm welcome to the Atlantic Cape Lifelong Learning Center, which will be serving the Atlantic Cape May counties and beyond. Also, personal thanks to David Feingold, who saw the project to more than complete fruition. David, thank you, and the staff at DOCS. You guys are great. This project is a validation of a strategic vision intended to extend access to the State University through partnerships with community colleges by complementing what they do at the lower division with what we can do at the upper division and graduate level. It also emphasizes that community college campuses such as Atlantic Cape can serve as major educational destinations at which access to a range of Rutgers resources would be possible. This building, why we're here today, represents a firm long-term Rutgers commitment to the Atlantic Cape May region. Planning for this building began in early 2010 when enrollment growth made obvious that permanent facilities were necessary. Trailers can get you started, but in the long haul you have to make a permanent investment. And I guess a few remarks for those who survived the original building Q. It's also nice to be able to have restrooms under the same roof. So securing executive and board approvals and a wealth of other reviews and approvals all proceeded in fairly rapid succession. Authority finally to put a shovel into the ground was received on December 7th, 2011. This building was open and ready for business September 4th, 2012. 8 months. By Rutgers standards, light speed. That said, I could ask what some here might regard as a strange question. What really is so important about this building? After all, it's only one of nearly 700 Rutgers buildings. Many larger, some perhaps even more elegant. That's true. But this celebration today, ostensibly about bricks and mortar, is really about students. And about students who otherwise, by geography, economic, family, or job responsibilities, would not have the same access as others in Essex, Middlesex, or Camden counties. Faculty and staff from both Rutgers and Atlantic Cape have mutually committed to provide opportunities for the people we serve. And we do so in a way we have not done before. As such, this building is in fact far more significant than most others we've opened or will open soon, as it represents a noteworthy evolution in Rutgers assuming its full responsibility as our state university. I hope to make a couple of observations that will further make my point. First, the programs that will be supported in this facility represent a significant shift in Rutgers' attitude, that our community colleges must be full partners in how we can and should provide service to students, particularly those living and working in regions with no easy access to one of our 3 main campuses. In advocating for this new view, sometimes you get support from the most unexpected places. I usually told my staff, I'd rather be lucky than good, but I do know I have to be good enough to take advantage of being lucky. And this is one of those instances where in New Brunswick we had a major initiative that occupied a couple of years, the transformation of undergraduate education. That initiative provided data that community college transfers with an associate's degree and a 2.5 or better succeed at Rutgers on a 3-year basis at the same rate as our own native freshmen succeed in 5. Important because it provided objective data from a most unlikely source, an effort aimed entirely at dealing with an on-campus New Brunswick issue. It was data that, in effect, validated the fundamental principle of this partnership, that Rutgers and community colleges are natural partners, and the public is best served when we all acknowledge that each sector has an important role. In today's economy, with the cost of higher education increase and student debt escalating and potentially upsetting what should be a level playing field, New Jersey community colleges will become even more important in providing that initial access. My second observation is that Rutgers has had a long history of letting 1,000 flowers bloom, and those of you here from Rutgers know exactly what I'm saying. Problem with that is often there's no landscape architect, no vision, no plan. The success of the off-campus degree completion initiative here and elsewhere is different, as it is completely dependent upon units working together, realizing that the only way for the whole to benefit is to acknowledge that no single unit can do it all on its own, and that all of our participating units must work together to achieve a common goal of serving students the best way possible. So, in the past, when academic units at one campus refused, literally, to recognize credits from another, we presented a confusing and frankly irrational picture of gatekeepers gone bad. This initiative, represented by this building, facilitated Rutgers' maturation in service to the state. Understanding that working together as one, we can better serve our state, serve students who otherwise would not have geographic access to their state university, and that, at the end of the day, we have created a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. My third observation is that this initiative provided a test bed for much of what is now accepted as business as usual, from hybrid and online courses, high-quality traditional face-to-face instruction, but at locations remote from one of our main campuses, tuition-driven initiative, sort of an early all-funds budgeting. All were part of this strategy as represented by this building. And yes, these provided test beds and subsequent acceptance by Rutgers faculties. My last observation is that this building, by representation, celebrates public higher education policy at its best. In fact, it is great public policy. Public institutions working together, complementing each other, providing access to Rutgers, your state university, in regions where thousands who could benefit from access otherwise would not have that opportunity. Here, now in Atlantic County, there is a permanent Rutgers commitment, bringing with it the prestige of an AAU research institution, our land-grant commitment, and your state university. With your support and encouragement, I hope to be invited back in the near future, when demand for additional programs will require that we expand, yes, double the size of this facility for which it is planned. I have no doubt that this partnership and the programs represented here will achieve this level of success and more. And I thank you all for allowing me to share these thoughts with you today. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would just like to take one more minute of your time to extend a couple of thank yous and shout outs. First, special thanks to Barbara Fiorella and Elizabeth Moore, who not only set a new standard for diligence on this project. Actually, I know there are a number of people from construction and Reese that now have developed facial tics as a result of that. But they did an incredible job. But more importantly, they do an incredible job providing support to our students here on the Atlantic Cape campus. Until recently, with Cal Maradona and Nancy Powell, these professionals, led by Barbara, represent, in my mind, the A team for caring and support of students. I'd also like to especially acknowledge Steve Galida and Bob McGinn from Rutgers, the construction crew on our end. Tom Norris, Eric Jensen from Reese, Dean McClay and her staff from the Culinary Institute. You'll enjoy in a bit. And again, Dave Feingold for putting this, leading this event today. And without, I must again finally acknowledge the support of the two boards, without which none of this would be possible. The executive team, we have ideas and so on, but ultimately you have to have board buy-in, and so I want to acknowledge and thank the boards. It is my pleasure now to introduce Mr. Frankie Williams, a Rutgers graduate at the Atlantic Cape Initiative. Mr. Williams lives in Mays Landing and completed his associate's degree at Atlantic Cape in 2009. Frankie then entered Rutgers here and completed his Rutgers degree in criminal justice. He is planning on obtaining a master's degree in criminal justice with a concentration in Homeland Security. Mr. Williams has been selected to speak on behalf of our Rutgers students and Rutgers alumni from here at Atlantic Cape. Frankie?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just first want to say that it's both an honor as well as a privilege to be able to speak here today on behalf of alumni as well as prospective students. I'm very proud that what I accomplished at Rutgers was significant enough to merit this type of recognition, which has allowed me to speak here today. As Dr. Caprio alluded, I am a resident here, current resident, so it's very paramount for me to stay close to home because I have a mortgage, responsibilities, fiance, so I couldn't just leave and go to one of the main campuses and or another college. So when I was looking for an institution to go to, it was very significant that it was a prestigious university, which can't get any better than Rutgers, in my opinion. And let me back up for a second. Sorry about that. I'm an ACC graduate, so when I graduated here, pardon me, I apologize. I'm a bit nervous. I was a general studies major at ACCC, and my last semester at ACCC, I took a criminal justice course as an elective. And the professor there was just a great relationship, and I knew that I wanted to pursue criminal justice as a path. And when you go to ACCC, it's pretty much a one-way in, one-way out. And you drive and you see the big R in front of the modular, and as Dr. Caprio alluded to, the portable trailer. I knew that I wanted to go there, so when I was accepted, I was very elated, very excited, and happy that I was able to pursue that career path and majoring in criminal justice here at Rutgers. It's a big deal for like I said, people like me who can't commute all the way to a major campus like that of New Brunswick or things of that nature. So it's definitely financially more economical, and my fiance stays happy, so happy. I know the whole saying, happy wife, happy life, so I wanted to make sure that I was able to obtain a good education, but not having to neglect my responsibilities. So it was a pretty seamless transition, and I guess, my experience here at Rutgers, which is vital for everyone to know, being as though I'm a transition student from ACCC to here, it was a great opportunity for me to be able to obtain a degree from an institution as prestigious as Rutgers without having to go to the main campus or the New Brunswick or Newark or things of that nature. Because, like I said, I had responsibilities and finances that need to be taken care of. And my experience here at Rutgers, very memorable. I made some very long-lasting friendships. It's very close-knit. For those who go to the main campus, I'm not quite sure how that experience is. But, when you're here, or for me, when you were there, it's more of like a seminar in classes. You have your professor and, 20, 30 students tops. It creates great dialogue. It allows you to get the full maximum benefit of your education with, great questions posed from your fellow students as well as the professors. And I've really enjoyed that. I'm actually very glad that I was able to have that type of environment because I believe it definitely helped me become more well-rounded as an individual. So the professors here are great. They're not professors, they're not teachers. I don't want to sound trite, but they're educators, which is a total difference in terms of what that means to a student and how they benefit from that type of education. There are professors that I still converse with daily, or not daily, but from time to time for mentoring, for criminal justice. I figured it was pretty much job security, but I'm finding it quite hard to get into the field. But I often call them up for advice or anything that I could do. Please reread my resume if there's something I could adjust or touch on that may get me over that hump. But it's great to know that it's the relationship that you were able to build with them. That would allow me to be able to call them on their personal cell phone and just go back and forth and kind of shoot ideas and see where you stand. That's what it's all about. It's education, it's learning, it's building friendships, it's invaluable education is basically what I want to say. And from there, unfortunately, I won't have the experience to be in this new building unless there's a Master's in Criminal Justice program coming up, which I wanted to throw that in there. But I think that we should have the prospective students just walk the plank to the bathrooms. It's definitely good to know that there's accommodations in this facility. The facility is beautiful. When I first got the tour from Elizabeth, very proud when you walk in there. I felt proud for myself as an alumni, and I felt proud for the prospective students, and that they're going to be able to get a great education and feel proud about being at Rutgers. Everything in there, from the details, is just so meticulous when you walk in there. The colors, the choices, the different types of room, the computer room. Let me tell you, from being over there and seeing this, they just have every possible opportunity that they can exhaust to get the best education possible for themselves. And it's definitely something to be proud of, definitely something that should make them hold their head high and represent Rutgers and be proud that when someone asks them, what institution, what college did you graduate from, what college do you matriculate at, and they say Rutgers with great conviction. So, realistically, that was my experience. I acquired an invaluable education from Rutgers, and I felt very fortunate to be able to obtain that education while staying close to home. And I appreciate everyone who had anything to do with bringing this to fruition. And I'm sure that the new building will be great for prospective students. And thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for enduring me.
Thank you very much, Frankie. And before we move to the main event of the ribbon cutting, I just wanted to ask you to join me in some of the thanks that have already been given to Barbara Fiorella and Elizabeth Moore for all they did to make this building come in on time, on budget, and make this possible. So, Barb. So we're going to go over for the ribbon cutting and ask you, after that, you're welcome in. We have a reception in there, chance to look at all those details and computers that you were hearing about from Frankie, join in some food and beverage, and celebrate this great day. So just over here for the official ceremony.
All right, now man. One, two, three. Yeah!